ahead. Hit us with a question. Oh, you can. Oh, hey, we are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to MashTalk. This is our weekly Google Hangout where we talk about sort of the big stories, the big tech stories of the week. This was a huge week for tech news. There was a lot on Facebook. They had their big developer conference that started on Wednesday, and they had 2 days. It's usually 1 day. It's an annual affair now, but they did a lot of stuff. They talked about drones. They talked about VR. They talked about Messenger. Definitely trying to be cool, hip, and forward-looking. Then on Thursday, boom, news that these phones, these things right here, Galaxy S6, the Galaxy S6 Edge, we knew they were coming. Now they have an official U.S. release date. It's April 10th. And hey, we have them. We haven't yet posted our reviews, but they're coming very soon. And we want to share our thoughts and maybe get a little of your thoughts on, you know, what these phones will do to, you know, the market, which just tends to be dominated by the iPhone right now. And what else happened? There was like one other thing. Oh, you know what? We're on it right now. It's Periscope.
Yeah, exactly. What are we on?
See, there's so much that happened. Yes. Okay, so we're doing this Hangout. Usually we're on different cameras. The reason we're doing it in one place right now to make it simpler for our live mobile video audience.
You can see we are surrounded.
by
phones.
They'll be able to see in a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this.
Three iPhones. We got three iPhones going. We're streaming on 3 different platforms.
So I'm going to flip this over. So if you guys can see, I'm going to hold it up.
What are the 3 different platforms? We got
so
Hangout.
That's our setup right now. Okay. So you can see the 2 selfie sticks. There's one over here and another one right there. This must look weird to the guys on Meerkat and stuff, but
it's pretty meta.
We're live right now on both Meerkat and Periscope, and I forget which is which. Hey Periscope, hey Meerkat. Periscope came out on Thursday. Was in the works for a while. We knew Twitter. They just acquired them a month or so ago. So it's a fast move by Twitter to get out their answer to Meerkat, which has obviously been dominating live mobile video for the last several weeks. And I think I just activated.
Yeah, I hear something going.
The phones are talking to me.
Something's
voices.
But we're gonna first talk about.
Let's first talk about
the phones, right? Can I hold one, please?
Okay.
No.
Oh, it didn't even give me the one that I really want.
See.
That one's pretty slick. This one is talking to me. Why are you talking?
Pete's phone is talking. Turn the volume on.
All right, I think I just accidentally made a call. So yeah, this is it. Lance is holding the Galaxy S6 now. He can't really do a lot with it because I have locked it with my fingerprint, which is one of the new features. It works just like the iPhone. Check it out. Okay,
it's
I'm a little closer to somebody.
It's a copycat.
A little closer. Here we go. And it didn't work. There you go, boom.
Yeah,
even though my thumb was a little, it's hard to, you don't unlock your phone when you're showing it to people on. It's unlocked. You can goof around with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to show.
So you may know previous Galaxy phones, this is so weird, previous Galaxy phones needed to slide. So you needed to slide before. You had to do that. It never really worked that well. Nowhere near as well. They improved it like through a couple of iterations, but now they've basically done something very similar to the iPhone, is that you just press. And I will say this, I think it actually works a little better than the iPhones. I'm not exactly sure why, but I have a theory. And there's one thing, basically this button, the home button on Samsung phones, it protrudes a little bit, whereas on the iPhone it's slightly recessed.
Right.
And I think that gives it a little bit of extra area, a little bit of extra chance to work.
Well, it's wider too. I mean, if you measure these touch sensors, the touch sensor on the Galaxy 6 is wider than the sensor on Touch ID on the iPhone. I don't know if that makes a difference. When you Pete, I don't know how you registered your finger, but you know the registration process on the iPhone where you touch and you feel buds and you touch and you
very similar. Very similar, and it does it probably several more times. So you do a lot of sort of the same touch, and then it sort of encourages you. After that, we'll do it a few more times. We'll try to do the edge of your print, and it totally works. So that's a good improvement. But really, overall, like, look at that. Look at this phone. Honestly,
it's a gorgeous phone.
If you see it from the side, it's a very well-designed phone. Samsung's ditched the plastic back. It's now glass. It's, I mean, we have nice phones.
6. I've got an iPhone 6.
iPhone 6. Okay, now look at these side by side here. I mean, this is you kind of have to imagine them in black, but I mean, particularly with the bezels, with the rims, they're both metallic. They sort of have very similar design accoutrement. So you see
coming through.
You see sort of the antenna sort of lines there. They're slightly different places.
Right.
You know, I mean, the comparisons are going to come in. They've already come in. What do you guys think? Is this imitation?
I feel like there's maybe a little bit more.
It's inspired for sure.
Well, I guess it's inspired, but here's what I think. When I've seen these two new phones from Samsung, the one that excites me the most is the Edge.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it is distinctive. It does.
This a little hard to say.
It does. I want all different.
Here you go. You can kind of see the curved.
It does stand out.
The curved edges.
The Edge stands out. I mean, it's an interesting thing. You know, you're going to find out what our final verdict is on the Edge in a little bit when we post our reviews. There's pluses and minuses. I mean, you know, it's a different thing. It's eye-catching. It even has a little functionality, but it doesn't have as much functionality as the Note Edge had. Because the Note Edge had a whole app drawer on the side, and you could like quick launch apps and a lot of scrolling news and
not
weather,
only that, the Note Edge's curved screen edge, I should say, is at a secondary screen.
Yeah,
itself.
it's an actual screen.
It's an actual secondary.
But they have managed to figure out a way to put information on the Edge.
Yeah.
Can you show how that works?
Yeah. Okay. So check it out. So we're gonna turn it off. Now here we go. It's dormant. Now watch the Edge. And sometimes it works. There it is. Boom.
Oh.
Night clock right there.
You know what? That's cool.
That's really cool.
Well, I love the night clock.
Show the Periscope audience too.
So that's neat.
I
Okay.
want to see
Periscope.
and
Okay, we got to do this 3 times.
Yeah.
So we're not
we're
got a lot to talk about. So
We have
okay,
too
here
much
we
to
go.
talk about. We
Not
can't
sure
show
if
everybody.
it's zooming very well, but boom. There you go. There's your night clock. Scroll through.
It's pretty slick.
All right. I don't want to leave you out, Meerkat. You know, I still love you. All right, here we go. Wait. I didn't do that. All right, here we go. It's off. Boom.
That's pretty cool. You know, here's what I think. The best features are the features that do just enough. That don't try and do. You know, basically the idea with the original Note Edge was that it was almost like a full screen, right, along the edge. A lot of functionality. My thinking is probably much more than people needed. How many people were really changing the background on that Edge? You know, probably weren't. I bet most people were using the clock. I'm sure they found that out in their research. So I think there's a stroke of brilliance to bring it to a phone that a lot of people are going to buy and give them something that's so useful. You know, there's a tremendous amount of utility in just having the clock on that edge and nothing else viewable, you know, nothing else lit up. It saves on battery power. You don't have to pick up the phone and reach around your night table and then tap it.
One thing I'll say is that you might think it's harder to hold. It's not really harder to hold. It's a little more, you have to get used to holding it because it's a thinner edge. But I mean, it actually probably slips less than the Galaxy S6.
I thought the Edge,
you get a slightly
gripability.
Yeah, because it's like you
feel the metal.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got a little more texture.
So when Apple made the decision to get rid of the edges, going from the 5S to the 6, I think it's a beautiful design, but I always have a case on these phones because I feel they are more slippery.
I dropped mine twice, and I've never been a case guy in the past, and now I have a iPhone 6.
Yeah, but with this, not this one, but the Edge, which Raymond is holding, that actually adds a little bit of a grip to it. In a way, it's a very interesting thing. It's like your finger can wrap around that edge a little bit, and it makes a big difference.
Shuts out a little more. You get more normal force.
So I want to talk about the big question that I had about these phones, because, and we can keep throwing in specs and stuff like that, but here's the big question for Samsung. Are either one of these phones the ones that help Samsung get its mojo back? Because we all know that Samsung, as a leading Android smartphone manufacturer, has not had the greatest couple, 18 months. And they need a blockbuster hit. Are we looking at it? Is one of these phones or both of these phones, the phones are going to be 10, 20, 30 million sellers in the next quarter?
Here,
I think so.
Do you think so?
I think so. I mean, just
Raymond's putting it on the line.
It's such a departure from what they've created in the past.
A blockbuster.
And people have been waiting for Samsung to create a phone made of metal and glass.
That's Gorilla Glass, by the way?
That is Gorilla Glass.
They always pay.
I've actually dropped this phone a number of times.
So,
and I've only had it in a couple days.
Not only that, like, it's just a really well-rounded phone. It's got a fantastic camera. You know.
What's the megapixels on the camera?
16.
Right.
16.
And it has optical image stabilization. You might have noticed as I've been holding this out here, there's a little nub that's probably a little bigger than most nubs.
It's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal.
But it's funny.
But I mean,
it's funny because now they don't. Right. Apple made it okay. Although we know that Johnny Ive doesn't like.
He doesn't like. He winced. Someone put it on it.
He winced at it. And to me, it's an unfortunate thing.
Let's make the nubs kiss.
Here's what I think.
Giant nub on the back.
I don't know why you're doing that, but my guess is that over the next 2 years, camera technology will get to the place where we finally can get rid of that.
Right.
No, because we're going to keep demanding more of the camera.
No. I think that what we'll do is we'll probably go this way. We'll get a set of phones over the next year that'll get rid of the nubs, and then a year later to a year and a half later, we'll get them back because they'll want to introduce what you're talking about, more technology. We're going to go back and forth because the designers, I'm guaranteeing you, the product designers probably hate this and are desperate to get rid of it.
They're desperate to get rid of it, but it's also like the demands we're putting on mobile cameras keep increasing, and the demands we're putting on product design keep increasing. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the nub. It's kind of like one-day battery life. Now that we're used to it, even though phones used to have more than that, it's like, okay, for the added functionality, we're accepting the trade-off, and I think this is similar.
But everyone uses a case. Like, everybody puts a case on their iPhone 6, and the nub's not a problem anymore.
Well, then it disappears.
Well, because that's
everyone complained about the nub,
the whole strategy of
making
making them more slippery. Yeah. So, okay, is this the thing that makes Samsung, gives them a blockbuster? Spoiler alert, yes, I believe it does. Because this is such a great, I mean, they've packed so much, not just optical image stabilization, wireless charging, which, I think people might actually start to use because now it's just a feature. Right. You know what I mean? It's just there. It's like 3D in your TV. I mean, you're probably not using 3D in your TV all that much, but when the one time you have the opportunity, you're like, oh, wow, great, I'll do that.
Quad HD display.
Quad HD, best display you can get.
Overkill.
Truly overkill. And the fingerprint reader we already mentioned, and there was one other thing I wanted to mention, but basically, the ultimate thing is that the package is all there. These are all these features we talked about. I mean, Samsung has never shied away from putting features in, but it kind of did this time because there's no waterproofing in this, even though the last model was.
Right.
And it's kind of taking away any feature that gets in the way. So, optical image stabilization, most people won't even know it's there. They'll just maybe notice some of their photos are less blurry now. You know what I mean? Like it's a true upgrade because it doesn't really add any complexity.
So quick question: do you think ditching this micro SD card slot and having a sealed battery is a deal breaker at all?
No. What do you mean? The micro SD slot?
Yeah.
Oh, that you can't expand the memory.
You can't expand the storage.
Yeah. No, I don't think so because I think that's a power user thing. It's part of the reason why on the Edge they didn't do that full side screen because they want these things to have mainstream appeal. And although a power user might go, that's probably not for me. Power users aren't the big market. The big market is everybody, and these are phones for everybody, and they're great phones for everybody.
But was that a point of differentiation for Android phones? This is traditionally, people buy Android phones because they're not being oppressed by Apple, who makes decisions for them about battery life and memory expansion. So now, are we saying that it doesn't matter anymore? Android is basically the best experience on Android, according to Samsung, is a fixed battery and fixed storage.
I think it's right with it being a power user feature. Like I know lots of friends and family who own Galaxy S4, Galaxy S5, and I've asked them many times if they've ever swapped out the battery, and they don't even know separate batteries. And they don't even know
so it's
about
kind of
the
a
memory
crock. It's kind of this argument from people who really are devoted to Android is a crock. Because it's not everybody. At least that's certainly got to be how Samsung is seeing it. And I think it's going to be really interesting. By the way, I have to say I've heard no buzz about this online. I haven't seen, usually you'll see on Twitter, is it true that you can no longer remove the battery? I am very offended. Why isn't someone talking about this? So we're talking about it, but I think it may be...
Are you guys talking about it?
Yeah.
There's probably some people in our Hangout talking about it.
It may be a non-issue. So I think that's really fascinating because Apple kind of led the way. That you get by doing this, you certainly get a tighter design. I mean, this is the most tightly designed Samsung I have seen yet.
And it has wireless charging.
Yeah,
it has all this stuff.
Key or QI?
Key, and Qi or Qi?
I think it uses both, right?
Yeah, well, there's two.
Right.
They have the two
and
standards.
PNA. There's PNA too. Right?
Yeah, but there are a handful of places you can get Key. But again, wireless charging is not exciting to me until it's in a lot more places. Like it's in a lot more furniture. IKEA is supposedly going to start building it in.
Well, it's going to be in Starbucks. They did that deal, right?
That I can't wait.
I take the super fast charging over wireless.
Does anyone know?
Really?
Does anyone here know when Starbucks is going to introduce it?
I think they have in very, very limited places, but the full rollout, no. And I think they just made a deal for someone. I forget which standard made a deal with McDonald's, right?
Yeah, because we have to go and test it immediately. We've got the phones.
That's where you're always just hanging out for hours, and if you have a high-end smartphone, McDonald's, right? Okay, so this is good. We've talked a lot about Samsung. We like the new phones. They could bring Samsung's mojo back, and watch for them April 10th.
I think they will.
April 10th.
April 10th.
Moving on. Other stuff happened this week. Facebook, as we mentioned, was the Facebook F8 conference was huge. It started on Wednesday. Started on Wednesday.
2 days.
It was a 2-day affair, and they announced a lot of stuff actually. So basically, Facebook Messenger, which they like to refer to as just Messenger, is now a platform. Third-party apps can build on it and use Facebook's social graph to basically let people do creative things in apps like send jib-jabs to each other. Jib-jab. Lance is a big fan of jib-jab. GIF-like things. Basically do Jiffy and lots of other creative, stickers, messages. Basically bringing a heap of creativity on top of the Messenger platform. Now, can someone please explain to me how this is going to work exactly? Is it like you're in the app and it's going to ask you to integrate with Messenger? Or if you're in Messenger, you can actually do this stuff in the Messenger app. It
looked to me as if these were services that you could pull in and access through Messenger.
So you have to launch Messenger first?
I think you have to launch Messenger first, but I'm not sure because one of the things they showed during the FA conference was that 40 Messenger apps were launching that day, but that I didn't see the walkthrough of how you actually do. My guess is
they did show a store, so I think it's like in Messenger you can get these apps through the store.
Right.
But presumably you can still get them just through iOS, right? Because they're already building. They already have apps.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So you're just getting the app that's already available on iOS, and now there's Messenger integration. Is that what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. So are you saying that we're going to get these additional mini apps through App Store to use with Messenger?
I don't know. Hasn't someone checked this out?
But that doesn't make sense to me because I don't. For example, J.J. Abrams made this app called Action FX about 2 years ago. I've used it. You can shoot basically video and overlay really high quality effects, so it looks like people are blowing up or shooting a rocket. So Facebook just discovered this and
3-year-old app
and showed it during the event. Like you can do these wild things. Now I don't think that is go get the app and then use it together. I thought it was some sort of because they're using the platform to build on. So I would think they have to do some sort of integration, like getting the app through Messenger.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you get it through Messenger. I'm just not sure if that creates another. Is that downloading from the iOS store or is this Facebook store? And
I don't know.
And so then when you launch Messenger, you pick your app.
But you know what we're talking about?
I don't think they say anything about extensibility.
No, like that, this is called a platform within a platform.
Right.
Actually within a platform, if you think about it, you've got iOS, and within that you've got Facebook, and within that you've got Messenger, which has its own platform. So, each thing now is trying to create its own little world. And we talked a little bit about this the other day, that the whole big push to make these big changes in Messenger, to expand Messenger greatly, is, at least in my opinion, an actual effort to turn Messenger into Snapchat. Right. To make it into this playground for guess who? Can you guess?
The
teenagers,
kids.
Those crazy kids who believe that everything about Facebook is for their parents and not for them. And if they can get all of these tools working there within Messenger, suddenly Messenger is just as cool as Snapchat, where you can type things and you can draw.
You can type things.
Yeah. You can type things in Snapchat.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely trying to get a bit of that Snapchat zeitgeist. I feel like we've kind of started to move on from Snapchat to these two guys.
Right. Live broadcast.
That's kind of the hip new thing. I mean, we heard nothing about that from Facebook. Reporters talked to the Facebook folks, and they said they're thinking about it, but they're not really. They didn't have anything to announce. But I totally agree with you. This is trying to do the Snapchat thing with Messenger. Is it going to work? No. We can pretty definitively say that.
This is not how Facebook becomes cool again?
This is not. No. I mean, they're not. They're not on Facebook. They might have Facebook and Messenger, and they're not even opening it up. So I don't think the This is my thing. The discoverability isn't there. If this was using extensibility, and it was like, okay, I'm a young kid who's already using Jiffy, and then it's like I get a notification, why not just integrate your social graph from Facebook Messenger and, boom, we can do stuff. But I mean, they're not opening up Messenger at all. How would they even know about this?
Right. You mean opening it up for inclusion where? Like how?
Well, I mean, how do they get this? Oh, I want to send Jiffies to people on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook and I'm not opening Messenger.
So basically, the teenagers won't start to say to each other, "Hey, are you on Messenger?" Messenger what? Oh, no, Facebook Messenger. Dude, you're on Facebook? Not cool. So that's not going to work. But there is something that maybe, just maybe, could turn on the teens.
Turn on the teens?
Virtual reality.
What?
Yes. Virtual reality. It is. This whole thing. They bought Oculus.
Oculus.
How many years ago? A year?
Year ago.
Yes, it's been 1 year. They've done absolutely nothing with it.
Well, it's been a year. I took a while to close. I guess. They didn't buy it to immediately plug it into Facebook. This was a long-term thing, and that's all they kind of talked about. So, we got super excited during the keynote, I got to say, when they were talking about VR. This was yesterday, because they showed us some gaming, and then Facebook's CTO basically said, you're going to be able to do this year. And it was like, what? And then he said, you're going to be able to do this on something shipping from Oculus this year. That was the exact quote.
I didn't get that. I said gaming up front.
Yeah, no, he was basically talking about, it seemed like he was saying that Oculus was coming out this year. Then, the next guy immediately backpedaled and was like, oh, we can do this in a couple years. So that was like, okay. But the game did look pretty cool. It's like Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game that's been in development. Actually, they demoed it with the first Oculus Rift dev kit. So I've seen it and played it before. It looks more advanced now, and that's their primary game that they're working on. Oculus is working on.
So
does that
it is coming this year.
It's coming
to developers.
I guess. So I'm curious. I'm curious about what who. All I can think when I talk to people about VR, and they're like, what do we, why? What are we going to do with it? I'm like, well, gaming. Clearly, gaming is the thing.
Sure.
And we know that a lot of companies are into it. Facebook is probably the only one now who has a broader platform to apply it to. Can you do social interactions through VR? But they have yet to show anything along those lines.
Well, they showed yesterday, or they announced yesterday, spherical videos, which is a way.
Videos.
Yeah, but that's okay. Who can shoot spherical videos easily?
You need 24 cameras. They said.
Yeah, okay.
So you're
because that's
24 cameras.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I'm not.
No, there is another way. Obviously, we
had it at MashTalk.
There are applications that will let you do 360 photos. Right. It takes forever and it's painful. But 360 live video is super
Live
intense.
video?
No, I don't think they said live.
Didn't say live.
They didn't
Well,
say
I mean,
live.
when I say
recorded
live, I'm sorry. I mean
that I'm
that
actually
you can
playing in
play
the
it.
newspaper, like autoplay.
right.
I don't know if it'll be autoplay. That's
But
a good question, actually.
I'm sorry.
I think it's definitely doable. I mean, just look at Google Maps. Like, you know.
No, it's totally doable. It's just that it's only doable by people who have the equipment, which means that it's not becoming a social thing.
Oh,
it becomes more content to consume, which is probably something we should talk about, how Facebook is really turning on the jets for getting everybody fixated on a Facebook page where content lives, and they've even done something very interesting. It launched just yesterday. It's already live. Embeddable Facebook videos, meaning that just the way you can take a YouTube video and embed it on a site, now you can take a Facebook video and embed it on a site, and when it's embedded, yes, it can accumulate likes.
Yeah, and that's a huge move. I mean, it's not gonna, like, to the general web user, this might not seem big, but this is massive because it's a huge shockwave on video content, because we knew Facebook's video content strategy was moving forward, but what this does, it just completely directly challenges YouTube, because we're already, content, like, we're Mashable, we put out content, everyone who is interested in content, wants more eyeballs. Facebook controls a lot of those eyeballs, and now that they have a complete video platform, this one thing, making sure those videos can live elsewhere and still sort of tie into the Facebook, nerve center, is such a big deal. It's basically going to get content makers everywhere thinking about, oh, well, maybe we should put all of our stuff on Facebook and get that stuff. Because, even though this hasn't happened yet, the monetization platform is definitely coming. There's going to be ads,
pre-roll,
thirds, all of it. It is coming. And, people they're just working out exactly how they're going to share those ads with everyone else. And honestly, if they offer a better product for media, like more control in the same way, Brightcove and these other players offer content companies, I mean, why wouldn't you? Because YouTube right now, with Google AdSense, there's not really a lot of flexibility in what you get to show on your ads. I think there's a few deals they've made and a few things you can do if you have a certain critical mass of views, but if Facebook can go like, hey, we have a friendlier platform, hey, and control more eyeballs, why wouldn't you do it?
But what about for regular people? So if I post a Facebook video, do you think that they'll be asking average users, hey, you're getting more likes than normal. Do you want to have an ad on it and maybe get a little cut of the revenue? This is what Google did with YouTube, where,
why not?
by the way,
doing that with ads
I have made so many cents.
I made $100. I made $100 for one of my YouTube videos. It went viral.
Wait a minute, I want to see that video. What was this?
It was the Polaroid camera from like 3 years ago or something.
$100 is that's a lot of money on YouTube. I mean, for average people. I mean, not for the big
I don't know why it got like 60,000 views or something. It's like
I want to know.
Someone put it on some site and it's like, hey man, I'll take it.
So Pete's buying us lunch.
I'm buying you lunch circa 2011.
So what else is there? Anything else on the Facebook front? How are we doing?
Sure, Messenger Business or Messenger for Business. I'm actually still not quite sure what it's called, because this actually does affect everyday people.
Yep.
So here's the thing. I actually really liked how they pitched this in the keynote, because they said, okay, you have an interaction with a business like Amazon, and you're like, okay, you have to register for an Amazon account, you get an email. You have to confirm via email. You order something, you get an email. It's shipped, you get an email. It's delivered, you get an email. So, and these are all separate chains usually. So, basically it's like, why doesn't this just live on another platform, and why isn't that platform Messenger? I mean, take Messenger out of the equation and Facebook and all our preconceived notions, but if you think of like, hey, if there was just a platform for business interactions like this, that all that stuff is in one spot, that's actually a pretty good idea. And it's going to depend on whether or not people actually adopt this. But if you think about it, tons of businesses, even small businesses, are already on Facebook.
It's such a huge expansion of what Messenger was originally about. I mean, this is such a big deal. The fact that you're going to be interacting with all these third-party companies, potentially making purchases through it. You said something interesting yesterday, Pete. You were curious because you can see when people are typing.
Yeah, I tweeted about this. So here's the thing. Yes, this is the thing about Messenger, because it's different from email in a lot of ways, if you didn't know that. you know when someone has seen your messages. You've probably seen these indications of the web. Oh, seen at whatever, 10 p.m. And yes, you can see so-and-so is typing. This doesn't happen, obviously, in email, because it just doesn't work that way. Well, I mean, this is kind of like, I'm not even saying it's good or bad, but because it is kind of good. I mean, you will know if a business has seen your message. Like, they will never claim that, we didn't get it, I don't know what happened to your email, what the heck? But then again, they're going to see that you saw their messages, and, they'll know when you're interacting. So, it all becomes like a live chat almost, which is, it puts a little more transparency on the interaction, which can be good. So I don't think you can turn off read receipts in Facebook. I haven't found a way to do that in Messenger. They might want to introduce that option, but
yeah, I don't see a downside on for business interactions. I just, there's a question of trust. Will people trust Facebook enough to do these, because one of the things that this means is if you are conducting transactions through Messenger, that's your credit card info. Have they reached that level of trust with people? Because there tends to be a level of distrust with, one, a lot of technology companies, people for whatever reason think that every bit of data they're grabbing, they're using for some nefarious purpose, and also with the social media companies even more so. But Facebook really wants to be like everybody else. I was writing about this last week or earlier this week. Everybody wants to be in your business. Everybody wants to be involved with your finances. Everybody wants to be in your wallet. We just heard about Google Pony Express, and that was hours later we heard about Facebook and Messenger Business. So, and it's Messenger really business for people for getting stuff done. So I will be interested to see the adoption. We know that Messenger has 600 million people using it, which is that is half, almost, I would say maybe a little more than half of all Facebook users, because they have 1.1 or 1.2 billion, roughly. Is that correct? So
what I was surprised by is they didn't trot out any partners like Staples or whoever. And I'm not sure that's where they want the focus, which might be why they didn't want to. Someone like, basically people are like, we're going to start using Messenger as a very active way to engage with our customers. I think it would still serve them well to really reach out to a number of businesses and see how this is really going to go. I mean, they must have done some experimentation already, but I want to see basically when this gets to the point where you're seeing ads from your business and they say things like, just send us a message on Facebook and say hi and tell us what you want, and if you have a complaint, hey, we want to hear from you too. Go to Facebook. Like if you start hearing this more, then it's happening. Then it's a real thing. But if it's just kind of like, oh well, I've got enough email.
Well, it's very early. Obviously, it's very early, but it's these big companies are all sort of in a battle to try and get involved with some really important stuff that you do online. And I have to say, to Facebook's credit, I didn't think I would like Messenger when they separated it out as an app. I've gotten used to it very quickly. I don't
have a choice.
Well, you're exactly right. It's true. I didn't have a choice, but I thought I would be forever hating it, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, this works. This is cool.
Well, I think a lot of people actually sort of are the opposite of that, in that they will always remember the day Facebook made them download Messenger, and that's always in the back of their heads whenever like this is the main reason it'll never be Snapchat. There's this resentment, like, oh, Messenger, that app I had to get. Even though it makes no sense.
It's all the old people on Facebook.
I really miss the chat. I miss the chat.
You still get them on Android.
Fatheads.
Like, I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Oh, they still have them on Android?
I was kind of like,
I still see them on Android.
Those started, by the way. Wait, didn't Chatheads start with the Facebook phone?
Home.
Yeah, the phone.
Facebook
with the phone. Remember the phone? Does anybody remember the phone?
Yeah.
You remember the phone? What was it? HTC? HTC Hero or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Facebook One.
It was Freedom.
One.
It was
One.
the front. No, it wasn't One.
Yeah,
all the other phones are the One.
No, it was called the Facebook One or something.
Oh, I think you may be right.
Facebook Home.
I think it might be.
It was called. HTC has an obsession.
I'm sure they're telling us. They're probably on Meerkat and Periscope telling us right now, but we can't, because we're broadcasting this out in a different way. We can't see the comments. I apologize.
Okay, I'm going to turn my attention now to you, Periscope audience. Hi, because we're about to talk about all you guys, or the platform you're on.
Where's
not those people over there? Those guys are so old. We're so over you. Meerkat, whatever.
We are not.
Kidding.
We're not over you.
Obviously. That was the big news this week. I'm just going to ignore the laptop now. The big news this week was Periscope came out. Twitter been working on it. Lance here did a very thorough look at Periscope. Apparently a beautiful app. Lots of differences from Meerkat. Lots of obviously very conceptually similar, but lots of very important differences. Why don't you take us through those?
Let's talk about Periscope. All right, and I know the Periscope users right now are a little annoyed at us because they want us to be in landscape mode, but I have not seen the interface doesn't support landscape mode. The camera would. I'm not sure how it would look yet. We're still learning things about Periscope, but so I'll squeeze in a little bit, make sure you guys can hear. But you guys are all using Periscope. Meerkat folks over there may not have tried it yet. There are some similarities. Basically, it allows you to live stream, broadcast live stream. All you need is a Twitter account to sign in. And although the integration with Twitter is maybe a little bit less on Periscope than in Meerkat, so the interface is super clean. There isn't a lot going on there, but you'll see comments that happen within Periscope. They are not comments appearing out on Twitter. They all happen within the app, not showing up there. So after you've made that initial tweet that I'm live on Periscope, then it's kind of off of Twitter. There are hearts. You tap the screen, you can say I love this, tap, 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 and the hearts appear and they float up.
I don't know. I think all these services are going to
Yeah, there's so much crazy,
people watching.
Crazy stuff is happening.
Well,
you see the number of people watching. You can go and view any of those people. You can learn more about them.
Periscope.
Bring them all into it.
Sorry, I'm doing my own broadcast here.
It will auto.
Meerkat going on.
Here's something that is different. It's like craziness. Here's something that's different about Periscope for all you Meerkat people who are watching right now. Periscope automatically saves the stream and uploads it back up to Periscope. It uploads it back up to Periscope, which gives you replays. So even if there isn't that much going on
the replays
live Periscope, there's always stuff to watch on replays, and the replays, you can like them. And by the way, the hearts.
Oh yes.
Meerkat has what I call Meerkat has what I call gamification, meaning that you can sort of rise up on the leaderboard by people.
I like that.
By people watching and how long you run your Meerkat. On Periscope,
landscape Meerkat can't do this.
You can't easily find where all the hearts are added up, but when you look for new people to follow, you will see they're sort of most popular. That's where the hearts are aggregated.
Mike's the only one on my Meerkat.
So what you got is two great, extremely exciting live broadcast, Twitter live broadcast platforms, duking it out in real time right now. And I don't know which is better. One of the things I will say, and this is something that I think Periscope will have to address, Twitter and Periscope. Meerkats can be more viral because every comment in your Meerkat is actually a Twitter reply. People see the activity on Twitter and they also pick it up. Periscope, in order to sort of maintain the virality, people who are watching kind of have to share out what they're watching to other people to bring them in. I got a lot of notifications during the time I was testing Periscope. Almost found it a little annoying. But the numbers, so that I've had decent numbers, better than decent numbers on Periscope, but I've had some big numbers on Meerkat.
Yeah. Well, Periscope, here's the thing, with those numbers, I found that...
It's so hard to tell what they all mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Periscope, we were seeing this yesterday when we sort of had a duke out on Periscope versus Meerkat. Periscope seems to start strong and taper off.
Yes.
Whereas Meerkat has the potential, at least, to go viral, and it's because of that real-time Twitter interaction. The interactions are
I'm going to check on our numbers while we're talking.
It's a weird decision, Twitter, that they didn't do that. I think they'll probably add that soon, but I got to say the on-demand ability, so you can actually watch these videos after the fact, is a big, big deal. And I remember sort of being a little dismayed. Oh yeah, we got one over there too.
Oh yeah, we've got everything. So we've got over 200 on Meerkat. We've got 143
nice,
on
but it
Periscope.
probably started even higher on Periscope, I'll bet.
I bet it did.
And, you know, I'm sure Meerkat's probably sort of been around the same the whole time. But the, yeah, I remember hearing from Ben Rubin at the South by Southwest, and I think he said that the on-demand functionality probably wasn't going to happen very soon. I know they just had an update today, but I don't believe it out of that. And that's unfortunate, because I think that's one of the things that I think can make Periscope a big deal, especially for breaking news, because both of these services are awesome for, and I think this will be proven sooner or later that they're going to be very helpful in breaking news and accessing other people in real time. But if you're not there, if you're not seeing it in real time, it's very important, especially from a journalistic sense, that you need to be able to go to the tape. So because Periscope can do that, I think it's going to be the go-to for a lot of people at these events.
By the way, a couple of things. These are very new apps. They're a little buggy. So yesterday I was on the roof getting the fire. You know, lower Manhattan had the fire, and the video that was saved by Periscope actually didn't save at all. So I have no idea how that happened. You know, Meerkat, by the way, will let you save videos to your phone, so you can have them later. But they just don't put it within the Meerkat system. By the way, another thing to note is right now these apps are all iOS only, which I'm sure the Android community must be a little bit frustrated by. I know that Periscope
is not on
Periscope
Android.
is going to
Periscope's on the
show
web.
up.
You can get Periscope on the web. That's cool.
You can get Meerkat on the web.
You can?
Yes.
I've never tried that.
Yes, you can get Meerkat on the web.
All right.
So you can watch, but you can't engage in the same way. So, you know, obviously, and you're certainly not going to be able to shoot Meerkats or Periscopes on your computer.
Or selfie addicts.
Yeah, maybe. But Android should be coming soon, I think, on Periscope. But I think they'll add a lot of other features
one person
too.
watching my Meerkats on
there. Yeah, so that is absolutely pointless.
I had 5 watching it. I'm quite proud. I think I have to say that stream because it's legendary.
So, I mean, it's early days in this stuff, but what's really fascinating is to watch media, celebrities, brands, all picking up on this. Oh, and by the way, today, Twitter did something interesting. They launched Periscope TV on Twitter, which is a curation of all the best Periscopes happening in real time.
All the best Periscopes.
Well, this is the thing. You had Barack Obama showed up, called into NPR out of the blue today, and somebody picked up on that and had that on Periscope. So it's that kind of stuff. You know, when I went up on the roof to take the live video of the flames or the smoke rising up, you know, I had hundreds of people watching. Yes, explosion in Lower Manhattan, people injured, scary stuff, and people were watching. Hundreds of people were watching on platforms, and that's, I think, one of that's sort of the power of these tools, and it means that whatever happens here, this kind of technology is here to stay.
Yes.
It's just a question of who's going to be the leader. We know, by the way, Meerkat just got a boatload of money yesterday.
14 million. Yeah, 14 million.
Yeah. So they're going to probably go up from the 11 employees they currently have. Because they face a formidable opponent in Twitter and Periscope.
Yeah, I mean these services definitely, you know, they've tapped into something that we want to do. It's like we've talked about this in our Hangout last week, but it's very like they're standing on these pillars. The idea of sharing, particularly video content. Snapchat has done it, but also like I mean it's so easy to do. On both ends. Like you can easily start a stream on Periscope, but the most important thing is anyone with a phone can pull it out and just see what you're doing live. So it's democratized live video.
It's so easy, but here's my concern, your data plan. What about your data plan?
Oh, okay, so I'm glad you asked that because Seth Fiegerman did an excellent story.
No, I think it was Jason.
I lied. Jason.
Sorry, Jason.
Jason did an excellent story about this to explain that it's about 4 megabytes like a minute, and according to Twitter, they think that the usage is equivalent to FaceTime usage. Now, here's something to remember. When Apple launched FaceTime, it was Wi-Fi only. Why? Because most people are like, I don't want to run video on my broadband plan out there because I'm going to eat it up like that. Right. Apps like this are going to encourage people to do just that. And, you know, there
might have been a couple of carrier venture partners
the funny thing.
in that Meerkat investment.
These these guys have been out for such a short period of time that we don't have good real-world examples of what happens to people's data consumption. Right. My guess is a lot of people are going to get shocked, and they're going to get that email, that note you get from Verizon or their carriers that says,
well, Jason actually found a person who like maxed out his data plan and said that he's still willing to pay for like.
Oh yeah,
because he is so addicted to
Meerkat. So addicted.
Yeah, people will not stop. This is.
It will not stop.
Everybody, I won't stop.
Don't stop.
I've been
Periscope. Don't stop, Meerkat.
Meerkatting
Keep it coming.
for like 72 hours, and I need help.
Pretty soon your clothes are just going to turn yellow.
I want everyone to look at me and understand this is a cry for help. I can't stop.
You gotta tell the Periscopers.
I won't stop.
We have to keep looking at cameras.
I'm looking at all of you. And
so dystopian.
This is like Truman Show, MTV, all of it happening at once.
If I were a drinking man, I'd say this would have been a lot better if we were drinking because it would get crazier and crazier because we'd start to get freaked out about the fact that there are all these cameras watching us.
There are 4 cameras watching us right now.
There are.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There are 4, but there's other cameras in the room.
But they're not lit up.
We could engage them.
As we know.
Could be on some future Meerkat. What if there's time travel Meerkat? Could tap into a camera in the past.
What have we learned? What have we all learned here?
I think we've learned we're on too many cameras right now.
And we've given up our privacy already.
That it's hard to melt these services because if we were going to, we would have today. At one point, we had all 4 cameras and 2 more, so we had 6 or 7. So that's cool. But yeah, what we've learned is live video is the thing. Facebook, interestingly enough, has not done anything with live video.
Yeah,
oh, they will.
Well,
yeah,
I think you're right.
I think they will.
Hey, what if Facebook bought Meerkat?
It's coming to Messenger.
Meerkat jumped in that boom. Meerkat's cool.
Whoa! We're kidding. Don't leave.
That's a joke. That's only if Messenger buys you Meerkat. Then I'm gonna have.
No. Well, we don't know. Yeah, but
what about Meerkat in VR?
Now I'm getting.
But that's where this is all going.
I get nauseated just thinking about it.
No, but that's where it's going. That's how you interact with people in the future. That's true VR. It's like, let's go to a virtual coffee shop.
You ever see John Malkovich?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember you crawl inside his head and you can see his point of view. That's basically what we're talking about here. Crawling inside somebody's head. And I think even me, who loves all this stuff, I get a little freaked out about that idea.
Well, I mean, it goes back to that scene in Star Trek, too.
But I 100% agree. I 100% agree that Facebook has to get in on this. I'm sure they're interested in it.
But it changes what Facebook is, because it's not really real time.
But that's what they want to be, because Facebook has been trying to convince people that they have real-time news, that they have news.
Real-time news, breaking news, not so much, though. That's not, I don't go to Facebook.
You know what they say? You know what Facebook says? We'll do it live!
Are you sure you're not drinking? So, yeah, but I mean, Facebook's not about live. I mean, it's like, here's my impression of Facebook. I don't know if other people's news feeds work this way, but stuff I just shared
do it.
has like this, you have this 5 minutes for it to catch, and then it's gone from the news feed until maybe it pops up a day later. That's kind of how it seems to me like these things work.
But
you see some immediate stuff, and then it's just stuff from
but we know that Facebook has an algorithm that controls what you see. All right, it is not purely it's not linear.
I know. I'm just trying to explain that. I think the algorithm favors live stuff for a minute, but it doesn't really. And
if they go harder into news, they can tweak the algorithm to give news more prominence. Like they can do whatever they want to tweak everything.
But I mean, what do you mean news? I mean, Meerkat isn't just news. It's like I'm eating breakfast right now, and maybe you want to watch me, cook some. Yeah,
and by the way, what we haven't talked about here, and maybe it's worth discussing just a little bit, is the potential downside of Meerkat and Periscope as far as the kinds of content that's going to start to show up. One of the things that we noticed yesterday is, and this happened faster on Periscope than it has on Meerkat, is porn started to show up. Now, the way that Periscope works is it sort of these are the live things, actually, which is quite similar to Meerkat, but for whatever reason, maybe because there were more people, who connected directly to Twitter. I have no idea how this happened, honestly. But I think that. Oh, so yesterday I found a video on Periscope from Katy Perry, except it wasn't Katy Perry. It was someone who had taken video of a Katy Perry concert on their crappy TV.
Right.
And it was just awful.
But
and
how did you find it? Did it say Katy Perry?
It said
Katy Perry is broadcasting live?
Katy Perry is broadcasting live.
But it wasn't.
The Twitter handle is.
The Twitter handle was, so here's something that may be missing from Periscope right now. The obvious verification.
Right.
So you can see that these people
Well, it has to be on the notifications.
There are no filters that I can see. There's no meta information. There's no organization. And it's the same for Meerkat. There's very little organization there to really curate the kinds of content that maybe you're interested in. So these are kind of the sort of the early days and probably the sort of naive days of this kind of video. But I would say that both Meerkat and Twitter and Periscope kind of need to work double time to ensure that they can keep not run into the Vine problem.
No.
Everybody remember the Vine problem?
The chat roulette problem. What's the Vine problem?
Vine problem was it was filled with porn suddenly, and it happened so fast. We were all like, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" And you're like, "Oh my god!" And then you're like, and now if somebody has revined something that is objectionable, it's like black. And it says warning, and you don't have to see it. You can scroll right by.
Wow.
And that's also why,
that.
When they first did it, we have stories, go back to Mashable when Vine launched, and you will see a number of stories about porn and Vine. So in any case, it's a concern. Not a huge concern yet, but it is a concern. And I think it's just, and there's also the privacy question, which I think is worth asking. So I've been trying, as I do this, to be kind of careful because I've walked through the streets of the city and I've tried not to go slow enough to actually catch people's faces because I don't think that's fair, and I'm mostly like focusing above their heads because people don't want to be filmed when they don't know they're being filmed.
True.
And I think
anyone who's worn Google Glass will tell you that.
Exactly. So these are the questions that not a lot of people are asking yet, but as this becomes more popular, everyone's going to be asking them, and it's a discussion worth having.
Totally. And this was a discussion worth having. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Periscope, Meerkat.
Thank you.
MashTalkers.
We love you all.
This was our first triple play. It was a good experiment. Let us know how you think it went in this format. We'll definitely tweak it. We'll figure out the best way to serve both our mobile live audience and the MashTalk people going forward, but this was kind of cool.
I think we should end this with our own blue steels. Like we should end this for everybody with their own blue steels. You know how to do the blue steel?
Sure.
You don't know how to do the blue steel? You've got to kind of like turn. So I'm
No, yeah, you do this.
Yeah, ready? But we have to do it together.
Well, I'll do MashTalk, you do Periscope, you do Meerkat. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. Wait, I'm doing what?
You're doing steel.
Right. I know. You're okay.
You do it to the Meerkat.
Right.
This is like the worst karaoke performance. All right, guys. Take care. See you next week.